Start
Okay.
recording, start streaming. Okay, so we are live now. Hello, chat. Our very short stream and then restart stream. Yeah, so what I wanted to basically ask first is please introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about this costume. A little bit about this
Hi,
costume.
okay. Hi, I'm Queendom. I'm 25. I'm from the US and I've been cosplaying for a little over 10 years now. Um, that costume is my Mumsa cosplay from Dream SMP. It was a lot of pain, a lot of money, and it sheds feathers everywhere. It is one of my favorite cosplays.
It's absolutely beautiful. I really loved all the cape and the hat and everything about it. The first thing
Yeah.
I really want to ask is, who is this character? I have no idea of what this fandom is at all, of any
Okay.
kind.
All right. So a little bit of an explanation. So Dream SMP is a arguably very cringe fan base that I'm
Okay.
in. It is Minecraft roleplay
Okay.
from a series that's on Twitch that's been going on for about 2 years now.
Nice.
And so this character, so like a lot of people cosplay from it. Like if you've ever seen like a lot of people do like Technoblade, like the guy with like the pink hair and like the cloak and stuff like
Oh,
that,
okay.
and like the sword and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of people cosplay him, and I have a tendency to cosplay characters from it that are not in the forefront of the plot.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go for the major characters like Tommy,
Yeah.
Wilbur, Techno, Dream, all them.
Yeah.
And I tend to go for a lot of I don't want to say minor characters
Yeah.
because that seems mean, but the characters that don't get as much attention. So I heard like everyone was talking about this concept for one of the streamer, Phil, his
Yeah.
wife, Kristen.
Yeah.
That like because they're very cute together, like when he streams.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, what if she's the goddess of death? Because he's
Yeah.
like an angel of death on the
Oh,
server.
that's cool.
And I thought it was such a cool idea. And like crows are a big motif for it and everything. And I was like, cool, I like that. This isn't even a person that streams on Twitch. This
Yeah.
isn't a person that's officially on the server, but I like the idea so much, I'm going to spend all my money and do this.
That's
And
really...
it ended up being a good cosplay.
That's really cool. Like initially, I thought it was I can't remember the name of the witch from Howl's Moving Castle. I thought it was like an alternate.
The Witch of the
version.
Waste.
Yeah, I thought it was an alternate version of her. So I was
I've
like,
gotten
what is
that.
This? It's very interesting.
Yeah, I've gotten that. I've also gotten like Book of Life from it as well.
Yeah.
Just because of the hat.
Oh yes.
It's very Book of Life.
So, what was the very first part you actually started? Like, how did you go about starting the construction of this costume?
So when I started working on it, there wasn't a lot of fan art or other people cosplaying her. So I had to kind of think of like what kind of like look I want to go about it, what kind of vibe. A lot of people draw her with like a veil coming down from her like hat, but I didn't want to do that because it would like get rid of my face. Like it'd be hard to film in. So I was like, well, what can I do that kind of gives like that vibe? Because like I didn't know what to do. And I thought, oh, a cloak. And originally the plan was for me to just do like a simple like organza cloak with like some feather trim around it. And it ended up with that like monstrosity. It's like a 6-foot long cloak.
Yeah,
it's
trails
behind
it's
me.
It's stunning. I love
it's
cloaks.
Ridiculous.
Like the last cloak I made was so complicated that it took me 3 months just to think about in my head of how I construct it. And cloaks like to make really impressive ones are really like their work.
Well, I made that in like a day, technically 2 days.
Nice.
I speed through my costumes a lot. I skip corners and just speed through because I'm impatient. And that costume like went through like 12 different iterations. I've redone the wig like every single time I've worn it.
Yeah.
So like I never had the same wig. I've like I went from that hat originally. I cut off the brim on the one on top that you can kind of see in the video.
Yeah.
And literally just I wedged like construction paper and layered that with like fabric and feathers just around the
that's so cool.
hat itself, and like for the brim, because it was too droopy. Like there was like a lot of different designs and iterations. I wanted a more like Greek vibe.
Yeah.
A lot of people do like more of like a Japanese look for her, but I'm not Japanese, so I didn't want to do that. And I thought the Greek look was really cool. Yeah. So I went for that, and I decided on doing a cloak, and I decided to go all out with the feathers in particular, because it's such an important motif for like her and Phil's character. So I hit up every single Joann's for a very specific feather trim, like for over 100 miles.
Wow.
I spent an entire day just driving and going to all the Joann's, and then I had to still order an additional 50 yards of feathers online.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It's really nerve-wracking when you choose a unique material and you're like, I don't know how much of this I need, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all of it, but I know I want it because this is the only thing that will work in my head.
Yeah. Well, I was like, look, I'm either doing this like specific feather trim, and I need to get it today because it's on sale today for 50% off. I need to do it now, or I'm not spending hundreds of dollars on feathers. I'm spending thousands. So like, I was like, I need to do this now and get it done. And then like, I got like the initial feathers, and then I measured out like individually each strip on how much I would need. So I had a good amount, and then I went up by like 10 yards on that. Like just to cover.
I think it cost me about 50 UK pounds, which is equivalent to $70, I think, for my Valkyrie like wing back piece, and that wasn't even like a lot of feathers, but that would count to a lot of money.
Yeah,
you forget how much they are.
I think I spent like $500 just on the feathers.
Wow, that's amazing.
The dress itself I ordered online because I found the perfect dress on AliExpress, actually, which is like, you don't know what AliExpress is. It's like Chinese eBay.
I've never used AliExpress. I've been on it. I've looked at things on it, and then I've seen like, oh, it takes 3 months to arrive. I'm going to find something else.
Yeah. This shop I ordered from was super fast. They were really great. Cool. The dress was a little bit big on me, so I had to like take it in slightly.
Yeah.
And like adapt a few things on it, but it ended up like looking perfect. And I was like, I don't have to change like as much as I thought I would. So like the biggest thing I did was the cloak, like everything except for the dress, basically I made.
Yeah.
The hat, the cloak, the like jewelry pieces, like the wig I styled, like I did all that.
Yeah.
It was
I really love the cut of the dress, like that particular style of dress. That it does remind me of something Art Nouveau, and it's just very Studio Ghibli like, and it kind of reminds me of the way Studio Ghibli loves the sort of European sort of mid-19th century look mixed in with a bit of 20s, but because it's Japanese, they take it a completely different kind of artistic style, but it has that kind of look to it, which is what I really like.
Yeah, well, I wanted something like flowy, because like so her husband Phil, his Minecraft skin is based off of a character from Bleach. The guy with like the white and green striped hat, like Urahara or something like that, is literally, that's his Minecraft skin, is that character. So that's why a lot of people do like Japanese like kimono like looks. Oh, well, there goes my camera.
Okay, it's fine.
Oh, my battery's dying.
Do you have a spare?
They go for a more like kimono type of look to it, and I didn't want to do that because that's a lot. And give me just 1 second. I have another battery just right around the corner.
I can still hear you on mic. and everything's fine with that end. So, and don't worry, find another battery.
Let me go grab it. It's
Okay,
right
that's
behind
okay.
me. I think it's in my camera bag. Let's see. I knew I hadn't charged one battery, but I did charge the other one, and I wasn't sure which one it was. Before I put it in my camera.
Have you got a DSLR hooked up to your computer?
Yeah, I do. I'm using my photography camera.
Yeah, I've like.
Yeah, I need to get like an official camera for like Twitch stuff. But...
Yeah.
Oof.
Like, I tethered my actual mirrorless camera to my computer to do the first interview of this series with my with Jamie, my fiance, because we wanted to like test everything to make sure it went well. But we actually did like a proper interview setup where we actually sat down. I thought that would be really nice if I had more people that wanted to do the interviews in like my location, and I could like actually set up the studio and stuff, which would be really fun. So that's what we did for the first one.
Well, I did the biggest no-no that like everybody that streams and stuff and like does like gaming says not to do. I put my stuff in my room, literally directly in front of my bed. So like my camera and my mic and everything is directly in front of my bed, which is kind of weird because when I'm trying to sleep, there's just camera staring at me.
Yeah.
And it just feels odd.
I have done that at like one point, but I do like, I have like a room that is like kind of like, I don't know, my living room where I do like work and stuff, and it's like, because I have a very small bedroom, and then I have a bigger room that I sit in the daytime and do stuff. I don't, like, I do some foam stuff downstairs, and I do sewing stuff upstairs, so yeah.
I have a room that I have like all my costume stuff in.
Yeah.
And like my makeup area and things like that. But like I could not get my desk in there and still have room to film and stuff.
Yeah.
It's already too cluttered. Too many costumes, so I don't get rid of anything.
They just expand more and more, and you don't want to get rid of them. So
I'm like, I am a hoarder for them.
Yeah. So how do you when you're sharing your pictures of mums out on like social media and stuff, how does that go? Because I've always found it's very hard, the more obscure the thing is, to actually get people to see it.
So that's kind of the opposite with this character.
Really?
Yeah, the content creators themselves have given me the seal of approval.
Oh, that's so cool.
So because I do more niche characters, but like I tend to pick characters that like are very beloved in the fan base as well. So because I do that, a lot of people see it and they're like, oh my gosh, this person cosplays this.
Yeah.
So the mums that cosplay in particular, not a lot of people cosplay her, but she is so loved in the community. Like, she's kind of viewed as everyone's mom. So people, when they see a mums that cosplay, they get really excited and they share it with everybody, and it becomes a big thing. So I posted my photos on Reddit, on like the Dream SMP Reddit, because I was like, oh, well, a friend of mine posted, you know, one of their things on there from like their meetup, and I thought it'd be like really cool to do mine. And it ended up blowing up, and the content creator saw it and commented on it, and he and his wife, who I'm literally dressed as, were like, we love this is great. And I'm like, oh my god, you guys are like, okay, cool, didn't expect you to be here, hi, thanks. And then I went to a con in this cosplay, and there's a video on my TikTok of me, like, they had like, for some reason at this Comic-Con they had like a bouncy like house area where they had like a little like fight arena with like those giant like toothpick things.
That's fun.
So me and the one Filza cosplayer there literally got up on there, and we decided to like fight, and like I lost, obviously, like big dress, dying, hard to keep balance on like a inflatable pedestal. But the creator commented on that video too, and I'm like sitting here just like, bruh.
Nice.
It's it's a lot.
Hmm.
I have a hard time getting traction like right now in some videos.
Yeah.
So I've been in a at least it wasn't a bulb. Yeah, we ain't gonna go we ain't gonna go what was it, DashCon
Yeah,
with
I
it.
know
Like,
about
no, thank you.
DashCon. That was so funny. Like, I'm from the UK, so I've never been to any conventions like that, but I just watched a video on it. I was like, oh god. Oh god.
I donated to DashCon
Holy shit.
multiple times, once for the
Oh.
emergency fund. And I wanted to go. I actually had tried to get tickets to go, and then my parents told me I couldn't go, and I like cried.
Oh.
And now in retrospect, I'm like,
Yeah.
my parents may have saved me there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I could have been in a cringe compilation.
Yeah.
Like,
it's kind of
just,
like, it's like there were so many, it had so many organizational red flags. And it's like when you've been to so many conventions, you know the ones that are going to go well and are like done professionally by people that want to run an event rather than really strange people who want to get people's money.
it was a lot. But anyways, like I've been having like issues getting traction recently on TikTok. Like my videos were going from like an average of like 1,000 views in 24 hours to maybe 200 if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
For like the same effort videos with like similar characters. So I think it's starting to break now. One of the videos I posted yesterday is at like 11K right now, which yay. It's a Mumsa video, which is even better, from a meetup I was at, but it's hard sometimes to get traction for videos if I'm posting.
Yeah.
But photos, like I do pretty well. I don't know. I do oddly well with this cosplay in particular.
It is very stunning, right? It's very beautiful, even if you don't know what the character is, which I didn't, and it seems very particular to that fan base. But it's beautiful as a just thing in itself, that it would catch people's eye.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It feels really nice to wear it too. Like it's very like light and airy. It doesn't look like it would be.
Yeah.
Like very light with like a cloak there, but it's very comfortable.
Oh no.
It's nice. The only thing I don't like is the hat. I can't like move my head back or like too far forward because the hat will like fly. Is it
like small on your head, or does it fit your head with the wig nicely? Because
it fits my head with the wig pretty well.
Because I've had trouble with hats and wigs. Is like they always end up a bit smaller for the most part. You have to really try and find a really big hat to fit a wig, and your hair and everything underneath it.
Yeah. Well, like I got lucky with it. I guess like it kind of all just came together like perfectly.
Have you tried sewing like elastic with little clips into the wig, and then you could pin the wig on, and then the hat wouldn't necessarily fly off in the same way?
I have. The issue is like depending on what I'm doing, I have to adjust the hat.
Yeah.
So it's easier to just keep it lightly and just like try not to throw my head back. You know? It's also like hard to move around in smaller spaces with the hat.
I know that
feeling. It is a bit of a hazard. So like what was it? We were filming like last week when we did like our meetup and stuff that we've been posting, and I did I was wearing that cosplay, and like I had to literally walk completely around to the other entrance to the room, like through the kitchen, instead of just straight forward, because I couldn't get past like the lighting and stuff without knocking things down.
Yeah.
Just because I was so bulky. Other than that, like the costume like sheds. Like I said, like the feathers get everywhere. Yeah. Like whenever I wear it, it looks like I'm like molting. It's so funny. Like, cause like people will just be walking and they'll just find feathers and they'll be like, "Oh, she was here."
That must be so cool though, because it has that such like a goddess-like vibe with all these feathers, and people can like follow towards wherever you go, and you have like a trail of like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it has that until you're at someone's house filming videos and their parents come in and they're like, "Why is my house covered in feathers?"
I'm just gonna like pick them up and use them for something else.
Yeah. Well, they were doing that, like, literally. The one person that was dressed as, like, you know, as Phil, like, my husband or whatever.
Yeah.
literally like grabbed some of the feathers that trapped behind me off the ground and put it like in their like braid for like their wig. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's so smart. And they're like, yeah, I thought it was good. I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? Okay. I'm just out here like braiding like gold thread through it, and I
Do
could
you
have just
have
put
to
feathers.
replace the feathers? If a lot fall off, do you actually have to get like new mounts of feathers and replace them?
I haven't found out yet. I'm sure if I keep wearing the cosplay, I will find out.
How many
So far, I
years-
have not been able to tell a difference.
How many years have you had worn the cosplay for? How long since you finished it?
Well, I made that cosplay in, I want to say around June.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't that
So
long ago.
that's a recent cosplay.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say it was around June I finished it. Like, literally, that video on top there
Nice.
is me making the cosplay.
Yeah.
Like, that is it coming together, like, bits and pieces.
Nice.
So,
So like with with your other costumes, how many have you done that are, is this the kind of standard process for your costume making, or do you ever do any that are completely like from the ground up type, or is it more alteration style sort of things you like to do?
a mix of both, actually. So, I have no shame in buying cosplays and just using that. I think that more people should do it if it's accessible. But if I want something specific, I make it myself, or I find pieces and alter it.
Yeah.
I want to be as lazy as possible. So because I am very like finicky when I make stuff like from scratch, so I try to do as little work as possible with cosplay, which is not great. But there is stuff I've made like fully on my own, like my Thor and Oakenshield cosplay.
Yeah.
The only thing that I purchased for other than like the wig, you know, and contacts and stuff like that was my gauntlets, which I'm actually planning on making my own at some point. But I bought those just because I wanted to use them for filming like TikToks and just to have a pair on hand. My Yasha cosplay from Critical Role, like 90% of that was made fully by me. I think the only thing I bought was a pair of like jeggings, like jean leggings from Walmart that I literally just ripped apart and completely remade.
Yeah.
Just because I'm really bad at pants.
There were like certain things that I don't, when I think of a costume that's fully handmade, that I don't see as like part of the costume. So say like my black shirt and black leggings that go under my armor.
Yeah.
I don't see that as part of the costume. I just see that as like as much part of the costume as your underwear, really.
Yeah. So like it depends on what you're doing. Like I don't do pants. That's my big thing. I do not do pants. I cannot make pants that look good to save my life. I've been sewing since I was 3 years old, okay? And I cannot make pants. I can make a like elaborate ball gown. I can make like a cloak. I can make like whatever. Pants is where I cannot do it though.
I have made one pair of leggings because I've never had many costumes that required it. And they are for my Ash cosplay. I have 2 different Ash cosplays. And they hated my sewing machine. They broke it every single minute because it was like stretchy faux suede. It was like the most beautiful material. But my sewing machine was just like, I hate this stuff. And I managed to like force it through on a zigzag stitch and just get it to like be functional. But they look lovely.
I'm so
it was
sorry.
just the most horrific fabric to sew I've ever used.
I was it back in like 2017. I literally did the entire like Elizabeth Taylor Cleopatra like gold dress.
Oh, nice.
I had to pleat a skirt made of gold lame.
Oh.
And that was horrible. Because if it would like, I couldn't like cut it. Because if I cut it, it's gonna run the entire way. So like, it was just a nightmare. I'm like, if I mess up one bit of this, the entire thing's going.
Yeah.
It's
like,
a nightmare.
I had a similar thing with my lady Demetrius dress because it was like really stretchy material because I wanted the cling that she has on the dress, and it was like I'm not sure what material I actually used. It was some like synthetic high quality jersey, and I discovered stretch needles. I was like, wow, these exist and they make everything easy. I wish I'd known about these years ago. I was like, everything
to you.
Everything was terrible, and then I found that like bought stretch needles. I was like, this is fantastic. And then I started using them for other things. I was like, these are really good. They stop sewing machine sticking. They're great.
Honestly, I applaud you for making that dress. I bought mine for like $50 off of Easy Cosplay because I was so lazy with it.
I have a thing with a lot of my cosplays. I have looked at ones to purchase before, but the main thing that I have thought is these don't have the textural qualities that I want my costumes to have. So they don't have like the right sort of textural look to create that sort of shape that I want.
I feel that. That's my pain too.
So with that, I did use less expensive material than usual, but I used it in a particular kind of way that worked out really well. I know some people that have done it with like massive pieces of silk, and it looks fantastic, but the way it flows is different on the body because her dress does actually look like it is some sort of cling material, so it kind of pulls and pushes in the video, and silk doesn't have that quality.
Yeah. I don't know, it's interesting to like look at her costume because it's very, very odd on like how they made it. So I almost like look at it and think it's like a silk.
Yeah.
Like a really lightweight like silk. It has like almost like a flow to it. It's like water. So I don't know, it's very odd to try to like break that down, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna buy one that I think looks good enough and not worry about it. Like I have to make this like a week before the con. I'm gonna scream.
One costume I did want to buy because I actually just wanted to use it for TikTok videos for fun, because it is a massive pain in the ass to make. It's like a year kind of job, is Battle of Azeroth Jaina, and I had a look, and all of them are rightly like over $1,000, and they're not even the way I would actually make it myself. So I thought, well, either I actually bite the bullet and make it, or it won't be the way I want it to look.
Yeah, I feel that. One of the big projects I'm planning on doing now, I read fan fiction because I'm still in like 2014 Tumblr, clearly.
I read fan fiction, but only one type of fan fiction.
I read so much fan fiction, it's ridiculous. I probably read like a 50K fanfic every other day, if even. Like, if not every day. I read a lot. So, like, there's a fanfic I found, and it's a Rise of the Brave Tingle Dragons fanfic because I'm sad and gay. And they had a really cool design for Jack Frost in it and some of your fan art. And it's like Jack Frost, he has like a white version of what is essentially Hiccup's like dragon scale armor from the second How to Train Your Dragon film. And I'm like, I'm doing that. I'm making that. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if nobody's going to know what this is. I've never made armor before, but I'm doing it. Yeah. Like, I've decided to just give myself a very needlessly difficult project. And I already have one that I'm planning that's like a historically accurate gown that I'm going to be working on already. That I'm like, I already have a big project I'm doing. And now I'm adding another one. And to add to that one, my best friend is going to do Hiccup's dragon armor version. And I have to make that for them because they don't know how to do stuff. So we could be in a group together. And I'm sitting here like, why am I doing this to myself? And I'm like, because I hate myself and it seems cool.
Well, I've given myself something that's way more complicated. So I've always wanted to make a sort of maybe 18th century style costume, and I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. So I was like, have you ever played Fire Emblem? I don't know if you like know about it.
I haven't. I've watched people play it though.
Oh, okay, so I'm basically gonna make Edelgard's red dress, but I'm gonna make it with like Victorian undergarments. So with like a Victorian corset and a crinoline, but the crinoline from an earlier decade, because her skirt has like this lift to it, which really does look like it's like a historical undergarment. And I thought that would look so fantastic if I made it all out of like red silk to go with her like blood red dress.
Yeah. Like I'm just like picturing it. I'm like that would be really cool though.
Yeah. So I'm in the stage where I'm like, I am not a talented at maths person, and there is only one pattern for this particular corset that is a real Victorian corset, and it's in a sewing book from the Victorian times. Like, oh god, I don't know how to scale this.
Oh man, like I need to find like a pattern maker to do the patterns, because like I can't do patterns. Like I have like issues with like numbers in particular, like figuring them out and doing math.
Yeah.
I have something called dyscalculia.
Yeah, same.
So like numbers in my head get mixed up.
Yeah.
So like doing stuff like scaling patterns is really hard for me. So I have to either have a pre-made pattern or I have to get someone to make it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling right now with finding somebody that does like historical like patterning.
Yeah.
That could do like a historical pattern in my size for me.
Yeah.
That I could pay. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've got the fabric I need figured out. I literally went to New York like last month to go to Mood Fabrics in person.
Yeah.
To go like look at fabric. I like that's the other side of the country for me essentially.
Yeah.
Like I traveled out there to just go find the specific type of fabric, to talk to someone that would know what they're doing. Because I've never worked with like full-on historical like silks before. Yeah. I've gone and like researched the era for about 2 years now, because it's a really weird era, and just tried finding like resources online. I found like custom shoemakers to make historical shoes. I found like a wig maker that can do the wig. Like I'm ready to go all out with this. It is the 1660s. So if you look up a photo of Barbara Villers, she's kind of the inspiration for it. Okay. So it's a historically accurate version of the White Queen from Tim Burton and Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, that's really cool.
And it's very specific. It's like a very specific era. And like the style back then changed so much between the decades. Yeah. Like insanely so. So the like even the silhouettes were completely different. Yeah. And I need like this exact look.
Yeah.
And like if it has to be done like a specific way, otherwise the entire costume kind of doesn't stick together, because that's how historical sewing goes, and it's great. But I found a lot of the stuff so far. I just need to like keep talking to like pattern makers and stuff and try to track someone down.
Like, if I can work out how to basically scale that pattern in Illustrator like I scale armor patterns, then it would be much easier for me to print it out. But I could do like a modern style corset, because I've made quite a few, and I find I can draft corset patterns. But this particular shape and structure has the exact look that I actually want this costume to have, and I want to have like a slip underneath it and be able to actually model the undergarments as well as the dress as well. So the dress is a completely like unique modern style of thing, but then the undergarments will be like predominantly historical.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely. Okay. Yeah, I get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Right.
So what like how are you going to go about the armor you're designing as well?
So for the armor, a very kind soul on YouTube has made multiple tutorials on how to make Hiccup's full armor.
Nice.
And the helmet and everything. And I'm like, you are a lifesaver. And then to make things even better, he has the patterns available for it online for like $15, which I'm like, thank you. And then to make it even greater, if you pay an extra couple of dollars, he will size it for you to fit you. And I'm like, thank you, you are a saint. Like, you just saved me so much work. He has like exact guides with materials. He like shows how to make it, and I'm like, I'll buy everything. I will do this. It's gonna look great. It's gonna be so cool. Just like I'm just like following this dude's guide. And it's basically the exact same design for like Hiccup's like I said, like the Black Knight Fury armor that he wears in the second movie. And people have done that before, so there are guides online, which is awesome. If it was a complete unique design, I'd probably be sobbing on the floor trying to figure it out.
Is it the armor, as far as I remember, that is like a kind of like pebble-like with all the little pebbles on it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. The dragon scales,
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited.
That's kind of like, I'd say, my expertise in terms of making things. So to me, I've seen that armor quite a lot, and I think, oh, that's a nice, fairly straightforward armor to make.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, oh god, it's armor.
Armor isn't that bad. It's like sewing, but with glue. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And without needing to do with sewing machines, which are horrible.
I'm just very used to sewing. I'm not used to anything else. It's like prop work, I'm so bad at. I've started to get better with wigs. I can't cut them to save my life, but like I can like shape them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cutting never works out for me. Everything else I'm fine with.
I think I cut my Jaina wig by like that much and like cut it into her actual like curved hairstyle. I'm just like, the easiest thing I know about wigs is you take a piece of hair and you just cut it downwards. As long as you cut it downwards, it always looks good.
I never do that. I just go like straight like chop, like little kid.
That's
and it's bad.
It's like basically somebody I saw a guy that demonstrated it the best. They said, like, imagine if a piece of hair, I can't do it because the background, a piece of hair is like straight and it's cut straight, it's gonna look weird. But if it's cut at like a vertical angle where all of the threads lay smoothly like that, then it will look normal.
Yeah, I'm a mess. It's a lot. I'm very good at like the art of like, I guess like BSing a cosplay, like just like playing things by ear and praying for the best is kind of my go-to method.
I kind of did that with the last convention I go to because I made like a Mechanicus claw in 2 days. Like, and an axe, and I did electronics for the first time, and I did that in 2 days. And you can probably see pictures from my Facebook from the moment I started, the moment I finished, and I was like, I've sprayed the last bit of spray paint, time to get it in the car.
The last con I went to, I made all of my costumes, like all 4 of my costumes except for one, the like week before the con.
Oh.
There was one convention I went to one year where literally, I think it was Anime Bonsai, where we were literally making the costumes the night before we were supposed to be wearing them. We were like working on them. Like every single night for 3 days.
I've got to tell you how crazy this story is.
Both me and my friend.
So before I went to like MCM Comic Con October in the UK, I had probably made about 50% of my fiance's Lich King armor. And then we didn't realise we were going to go because we were like, okay, we got like, I got like a guest pass, a creator pass to go there. And I was like, oh my God, we can go. I've got like a free ticket. And I was like, but our costumes aren't done. So I basically made like the last 10% of Jaina and half of the Lich King in maybe a week. And I was up to 3 a.m. just carving all the little bits. And I didn't paint until the day before we went.
it's my friend and I was working on. So what was I was working on my Christine Daae cosplay, the masquerade dress from Phantom of the Opera. We had a photo shoot in that cosplay that night. My friend was making their mask for the Phantom's like Red Death outfit the night before. Like, we're like, we have to have this done in 4 hours. My wig is just now being styled. I am sewing like the details into the dress. Like, my friend is like, help me mold this clay. And I'm like, I'm not good with that, but I'll try my best. And they're like, quick, do you have a wig I can use? And I'm like, you didn't bring your wig? And they're like, nope, I forgot it in Alaska. And I'm like, oh my God.
Like, put it this way, the thing with when we were doing the Lich King is the sword was on the roof of our shed, letting the resin set in the light, and it fell off and broke in half, and we had to like try and stick it together like 3 times, and we were in midnight spray painting the last details before we had to leave the next day. We were like, it's midnight, we're done, we can go to bed now.
That's that con mood though. Like, every time I go to like KatsuCon in DC, like, I like to travel for conventions. Yeah. But every time we go to KatsuCon in Washington DC, we're all like holed up in like the Airbnb or, you know, the hotel or wherever we're staying, working on cosplays like up until we are leaving. Like, all of us are like, all of us are perfectionists though. Like, my friends and I are all like really picky on our costumes, so we'll all find something wrong with it that we need to fix. Yeah. So it's like, here, Queendom, can you like sew this up for me? And I'm like, cool, yeah, I will if you like help me with my wig really quick. Like, yeah, it's very much like an exchange. Sorry, my camera shuts off automatically sometimes. Like,
it's like, so, I want to get to like a higher level of my actual skill. But I know, like, Jamie said to me, he was like, okay, why don't you just not paint in, instead of a day, paint for a month? So you have to, like, have it done and then paint it for the next month, instead of just trying to actually paint it within a day.
But if I did that, I'd have to take my time.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, Saint Celestine took 3 years, and I took time over everything because it was lockdown and I had nothing to do. So I didn't have to actually rush anything. Yep. And it looked amazing. But, like, I really need to, like, give that extra, like, attention to detail to, like, bring up the quality higher than I want to be. Because I'm like, yeah, like, the claw should have had rust and, like, highlights and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm going to do it now. But at the time, I was like, I got 1 day. And that's it.
Like, I found that, like, having friends that have, like, different skill sets with cosplay than you really helps with, like, working on stuff. Like, my 2 best friends and I, we all have, like, different skill sets. So, my, like, Sakami is really good with props. Yeah. Kuro is really good with wigs. And I'm good with sewing. Yeah. So together we make a competent cosplayer. Yeah. So what we do is we'll like exchange things. So I'm like, look, I'll sew this for you if you do this wig for me. Yeah. Or like, if you like, you know, if you'll make my sword for you, like I'll sew this. Or like, you know, like we do exchanges all the time. It's the same with like photography. Yeah. Like, they've taken a fair amount of photos from me. Yeah. I do a lot of their photography. So like whenever I want to practice, that's why I have a nice DSLR camera. Nice. When I want to practice my photography stuff, or like I want to practice filming, I'll be like, hey, you guys want to go out and just hang out and cosplay? We can go get food and take some photos. And we've done that. It's just been like really fun. It's given us all an excuse to hang out because we're not like social outside of cosplay usually. Yeah. So I found that like just having friends that have like those different skill sets really, really helps. Yeah. It's made things so much easier, and like it's made me like appreciate the work that they put into stuff a lot as well. Because like they all work so hard. I'm blown away by like seeing how.
So I kind of have the thing that I do nearly everything myself. So I pattern make, I sew, the only thing I don't do is 3D print, and Jamie does that, and I'm like, I don't want to learn because it's your thing to do and I'm not doing it. So I deliberately stop myself from learning because if I know how to do it, then I'll just do it for myself all the time, and I need something where I don't do that. Yeah. So I literally I do like photography, tutorial writing, seamstress, armor maker, painter, all of that. I do all of that, and then I'm just like, you do 3D printing. I can't do it. I can't. Too much going in my mind.
I do as much as I can on my own.
Yeah.
And like I'll make stuff for other people too, just for the heck of it. Like I have a deal with like friends that, like, as long as you pay for materials,
Yeah.
I'll just make stuff for you.
Yeah.
Like I'll just do all the work for free. But like I've learned also that like it's okay for me to like ask for help and rely on friends if I don't know what I'm doing. Just because like I went through like a lot of like breakdowns over stuff and like losing my mind. Trying to like figure things out that I just didn't know how to do, and there wasn't a good way for me to learn how to do it. So it's been nice to just have people there. So like to have that option. And like it's been a big learning experience for me to like be willing to hand off things to other people. So
that's really cool. Like I've only like started, like I've met a few more people in my locality who do cosplay. I don't know if one of them is in the chat. Not sure whether she is or not. But in general, I've been kind of like a one person sort of setup that I've just done like everything myself, and I like having, even though it's a lot of work, I like having the supreme artistic control, because on the one hand, as I do cosplay as a job and a business, I can say this is my individual skill set and this is what I can actually do. I don't need extra people to do things with me, so I can like maximize on the kind of selling things side of things. But also I like the freedom to be able to have a level of ability to control what the art outcome of my art is as well. So like the difference between you make a costume and then you work with a photographer, and obviously like I have a photographer I work with, like Christina Photography. If you're in the UK, have a look at her Instagram and stuff. But being able to do my own photos as well, I have like a vision of how I want to portray the character, that it's so nice to be able to execute yourself too.
I know when I go looking for like photography stuff, I look a lot at like fan art for references.
Yeah, definitely. It's really good.
Like fan art's such a good like thing to use. That and like looking at other people's cosplays, if like you're not sure like about like a makeup thing, or like if you're not like sure like how to like bring this out to the real world. Like I did that with Thorin. When I was working my Thorin Oakenshield cosplay, I did that. I looked at he used to be a member of Nyx Rising, Jack. He was also a member of Parley Productions back in the day. But Jack a Dandy, he did a Thorin Oakenshield cosplay that was like really good and really spot on. And so I literally, when I did my first makeup test, I looked up the cosplay music video he filmed, because like they started, if you remember, all the Blame It on the Cosplay videos back on YouTube in like 2012.
I haven't really seen many of them, because I guess, I don't know, there's maybe different things that people in the UK know to people in the US.
He's a UK cosplayer, but like they started that trend back in the day that like blew up on YouTube and stuff in the cosplay sphere. But he did a video that was of that style, like going from like costume to costume and like lip syncing and just having fun. And one of them that he did was Thorin Oakenshield, and so I like paused the video, like got like a good like look on how like he did his makeup, and like where he like did like his what was it, his contouring and stuff for like the tired lines, like he was like one like right there, and like for like the nose, brows, eyes, and that was such a good reference. Like because of it, I have a photo of me that I love to pieces that I took, like a selfie, where I look exactly like Thorin Oakenshield, and it is the most gender I have ever felt. Like it makes me so happy. I love that cosplay because like I was able to do it so well, and like I was really proud because it was like all these new skills that I was trying, like especially with beards. It's my first time using crepe hair for a beard, and I was just like thrilled.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna ask in chat, would anyone like to ask any questions? Because will be the last 10 to 15 minutes and is the Q&A little section of my streams. So if any of you would like to ask any questions, please ask them in the chat now. I'm just going to wait and see if anyone wants to ask any questions.
Okay.
Just have a look.
Tell your husband thanks for accepting my friend request the other day.
I will. He's gone downstairs now. I don't think he wants to interrupt the stream.
I thought I heard him.
I was he was like watching like wrestling or something, and I was like, I know you get into it, but don't shout random things while I'm streaming.
I don't know, some shouting in the background may be good audio.
Yeah, like my friend said that she used to have the thing with her boyfriend when he was streaming. He'd shout random swear words because he was playing WoW. And no. Yeah, I'm on stream at the moment, Mum. My mum was like, yeah, if anyone wants to ask any questions of any kind, please write in the chat.
Oh, jeez.
Like, there are so many things to, like, learn from YouTube and stuff. Like, I have learned everything from, like, actually online. Not, like, I'm doing a photography degree at the moment, and I haven't learned any photography from it. I've just been asked to write essays. I learned all my photography skills from online.
So I did like a year of college for like cinematography in particular. So like I learned how to like frame a shot really well.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the stuff that I learned, like I mostly learned like lighting and like techniques and like design and stuff from that.
Yeah.
But like most of like the photography stuff I've learned has been from my mom, who was a professional photographer. And she still does it as like a hobby to this day, even though she doesn't work as a photographer.
Yeah.
So like I grew up like being like told like, okay, go pose, go do this, and being like directed.
Yeah.
So like taking photos, that came in handy, but it also really came in handy for like posing for cosplay photos and figuring that out.
Yeah.
Because my mom made me do that so much as a kid.
I've heard from basically models that I've worked with that I'm different as a photographer to work with because I see through the eyes of the model, and as working with photographers, I imagine through the eyes of the photographer. So I'm imagining being the person taking photos of me, and when I'm taking the photos, I imagine I am the person who is modeling as well. I don't know if you heard that. It wasn't cut out too much.
Oh, I did. See, with me, like, I think of it like either like a painting, if I'm doing like photos. If I'm like doing like videos, I'll like, depends on like what kind of stuff I'm like taking photos of. If I'm just taking fun photos, I like to think of it as like paintings, like older like Renaissance paintings.
Yes, definitely.
Like I need to like get like the lighting just right. I need to get like the you know like posing just right. I need to get like everything look natural.
Yeah.
But I also like to think of like if I'm trying to tell a story with something, I like to think of it like a movie scene and just taking like snapshots of movie scenes, like it would be like a storyboard.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot. Like I'll just sit there and like I'll listen to stuff and I'll be like, okay, so like this is the pose here, this is the expression here, like and try to get that.
That's quite similar to me because I'm into like the modern pre-Raphaelite sort of like art scene that I see around a lot, and I try and like contribute my own work to that as well. So I'm very much into like I take a lot of my modeling poses from historical paintings rather than modern like styles of modeling. Like I don't want to look sexy or beautiful. I want to look like I'm portraying emotion or a scene, like a feeling, like a profound sense of something within yourself, rather than just a surface level good or bad. I like kind of like, you know, like the death scenes where you have the parts where people have these kind of exaggerated, like dramatic pained expressions. That is more desirable to me than like just looking like attractive generically.
Yeah, there's like a theatricality to it. It's like really nice. Speaking of which, I confused a lot of people at the last meetup I went to for like filming stuff. Because I was a theater kid and I kept using like theater, like stage terms, like stuff like don't give me profile, I need you to cheat out. And they were like, what does that mean? I'm like, how do I explain cheating out? Like, you turn your body so it's mostly facing the camera, but just your eyes are, I don't know. Like, and give examples, like, physically. It's just confusing.
I think for me, my tip is that I get people, I was like, follow the area of my finger with your eye and tilt your head at a certain degree level, or tilt your body at a certain, like I imagine like a clock going around somebody. That's how I try and direct people. But it is really hard, photography directing, and I've worked with so many photographers who are amateurs and that come to conventions, they just want to take some nice pictures, but they've never worked with models and they have no idea. They just say say stand there. And then I'm like, and like I pose because I'm an experienced model.
My big thing is like,
but I don't know.
My big thing is like when people just look at you and they say, okay, and pose, and I'm like, okay, how are you shooting me? Like, what kind of angles do you want? Okay. I don't know. I know I've had to ask people, like, when I like shoot, like, I know with my friends they're okay with it, but like I tend to like pose people myself. Like, I'll ask if can I like move your face or whatever, if that's okay, like tilt your chin for you so like I can get like the right angle. So I've had to do that.
Alright, so because I have severe dyslexia, I'm going to use my text-to-speech software to read out this comment because it's quite long. If you can hear it in the stream, sorry about that, but it's the only way I can really listen to it. Just a second.
Hello. I am looking into expanding my EVA foam skills. Having seen the materials and various videos. So how does the contact cement work? Like, are there any step on application? If so, where can I find this information? Always get stumped on the step-by-step application. Hence I cower in the corner fearing I will do something drastic around the home XD. Many thanks.
Okay, so to answer your question, sorry if it was annoying to anyone in chat and you could hear it. I don't know if you could hear it, but I'm not sure. So basically,
I could a little bit, but I want to know the answer.
So, with contact cement, there are a few videos on step-by-step how to use it, but I don't actually use contact cement. I use a specialist cosplay glue that is hot glue that does have similar properties to contact cement, because the smell makes me feel seriously ill and I can't stand it. I will try and
say specialist cosplay glue. I was gonna say specialist cosplay glue. Do you mean hot glue?
No, actually, this is actually it's a specific type of hot glue. The company that I work with makes this really different type of hot glue that works differently. It has basically.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah,
I think just like regular hot glue.
No. I'll grab a link and put it in the chat. It's actually a unique type of thing because I can spread it with a heat gun. I can heat it up and spread it with a heat gun, and I can put the two sides together like contact cement. And as long as it's warm, it'll actually fuse.
I can tell you, speaking of hot glue, my cloak, the feathers on it, they were not sewn on. Those are hot glued in lines.
Yeah.
All the feathers are hot glued down. It's like they're on like a strip of fabric already, like it's a trim. I just hot glued it.
Yeah.
Just
Honestly,
like in like lines.
I don't know why people dislike hot glue. I've used it for years. I used normal stuff before Taiji's invented this particular type that works differently. So, like, my entire Saint Celestine cosplay is just made with hot glue. I think I used, like,
I'm
contact cement on the
opening
sword.
it,
And
and
that's
then
it.
in a new tab. Okay, I'm gonna have to buy some later.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll have to get some. I
think they do ship to the
I'm
US. But I think there's another company I've seen that's done something similar. A few cosplayers like shared it, so that's predominantly what I use.
Okay.
And it is very, very strong if you press it together and very nicely. The one thing I would say about it is it cools down faster, which is kind of designed in some ways to make it easier.
Okay.
But there are different ways to use it, like in the sense of you can spread it onto a piece of foam. I spread it onto like two sides of foam. Then I heat one side with a heat gun, and the level of tackiness on one side warms up the other side, and they will form a really strong bond. So you can use it like contact cement. You just have to heat it on one side to be able to start it to fuse.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like message you for advice while I work on my armor.
Yeah. But when it actually comes to contact cement, so the easiest way to explain the process is you put some on a piece of foam, you scrape it off with a another piece of foam until you have like a really like super thin layer. You let it dry completely, and then you just press the two sides together, and you make sure it's on both sides, and you make sure it's not tacky. Now, I have experienced a lot of contact cements that just don't work properly. Some do, and if they get old, they will also stop working properly. You have to have, I recommend for starting out, small, fresh bottles that you only open right when you use them, and then you don't waste too much, because like I don't use it enough to use the big tubs, and it's a good way to kind of start out with that sort of thing.
Sorry, I'm like taking everything in. I'm learning here.
Yeah.
I'm learning things here.
Like I've had decent success with like Evo Stick, but in America, if you're of America, I've seen so many people use barge cement, like this specific brand, and it works so well.
Okay.
And you cannot get it in the UK, and it seems to work infinitely better than other types from what I've seen in videos, but it literally costs £70 for a small amount to import, which is awful.
Honestly, I dropped $500 on feathers. I'm willing to pay whatever to get good looking cosplay.
Yeah, like I have a friend who also recommended me this other brand. I can't remember what she said, but I need to get her to send me a link, because she said it was really, really powerful. And it stuck together like almost instantly, which sounded really amazing, because I have problems with ones that don't stick well enough. They're perfectly fine when it comes to like saying you're doing a sword and you can just press it down, you can really press it down, but when you're doing something like a curved shape, they don't hold enough tension on like the arches, which is difficult for me because I do breastplates, so I need the extreme tension curve, which is why I normally use the hot glue, and I have a way of cutting one at one angle and one at the other angle, so they actually sit like that, and then I can put the glue in between and I press it down onto like a table with some greaseproof paper on there, so I can peel the greaseproof paper on, like there's a thin layer of glue left and you can normally just take it off with your fingers, but you get this really nice sandwich together like finish to it.
Sorry, like,
really
I'm just
good.
taking everything in right now. Like, really, I'm just like, I'm really sitting here, I'm like, okay, mentally taking notes, I need this and this and that. Like,
I am planning to try and write a book, because the main thing, like Jamie said, was that a lot of people say how to, but they don't go into detail on like actual physical technique of carrying out the action, because it's very easy to say apply glue to both sides and stick it together, but then often people come to the thing where they're like, well, I tried doing that and it didn't stick together right, or it stuck together at a weird angle and the shape wasn't correct and all that thing, because there's an actual like physical skill and technique in how you actually like hold the pieces, like the kind of detail with armor that I know the level of like transparency that hot glue can have between burning your fingers and pulling apart in a way where it leaves a horrible residue that you cannot restick. So it has to be like at a particular level to be like, this is stuck perfectly and will not come apart. But if it comes apart when it's too cold, you won't be able to stick it back together properly. Like, nobody writes about that.
Okay.
That I've ever seen.
That would be a good thing to like have, like just like some kind of guide like that.
Yeah. So, okay, so I've got to an hour now, which is my designated stream time. Is there any final questions anyone in the chat would like to quickly ask before we end the stream and sign off? So while we're seeing if anyone wants to ask any other questions, would you like to just basically promote yourself and tell everyone about your, like, what social media to go to find you and your work?
Yeah, I'm Queendom Cosplay. You can find me on TikTok at Queendom Cosplay, just all one word, or Instagram at Queendom_cosplay. I also stream here on Twitch. That is Queendom Cosplay as well. Basically, all my social media is Queendom Cosplay related. I make a lot of content from a lot of different fan bases, everything from musical theater like Les Mis and Phantom of the Opera, all the way to Minecraft YouTube cosplay. So, yeah, feel free to check it out if you'd like.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm really glad you enjoyed watching this stream, and the video will be up in full on my YouTube channel, and hopefully will archive on Twitch, because for some reason my Twitch doesn't like doing that. But if you want to watch the full video again, it will be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Black Dahlia. So nice to see you all. Thank you, and goodbye.